All right, fifth grade, so we are going to get ready to draw our final map. Okay, so what you need to do today is we're going to, actually, let me just quickly, we are going to split this final map into 2 days, 1 day today and 1 day tomorrow. Today we'll set up our map, okay? So what you need is some sort of piece of paper. You can use a blank white piece of paper. You can use a lined piece of paper like I have. You can use a notebook paper. It's whatever you want, okay? So like I said, what we're going to do is we are going to just set everything up to kind of get us started. So if I may first show you kind of what we're looking at here. So this is called a perspective drawing. Okay, so we talked about how we're going to create a map of our neighborhood like this. It's going to be in 3D. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to get the very basics set up. We're going to get our main road started. You talked about your main road yesterday. We put that line there, the road that you want to do. And that's what we're going to draw. All right, so we're going to start today. Get this out of here. So what you're going to do is you're going to take something flat, okay, something flat, something straight like this. Okay, I'm using a ruler. You definitely don't have to use a ruler, but I am going to use a ruler because, I don't know, it's just available for me. If you want to use a book, you can use anything that is flat. Okay, so somewhere halfway, around your the middle of your paper. First, see that I'm doing this with the paper sideways. Do you notice that? I'm not doing it this way, the tall way. I'm doing it the long way. Okay, so I am going to draw a line, kind of around halfway, right here, kind of down the middle of my paper. So yours should look just like this. Okay, just to start off, very simple, very easy. Okay, so a line that looks like this, near the middle of your paper. Okay. Now what you're going to do is right smack dab right in the middle of that line. Okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to put the middle about right here. You're going to just draw a dot. Okay. Now looking at this right now, this absolutely does not look like this, right? This looks way more intense, a little bit more detailed than ours right now. But this is the beginning of how we're going to do this. So first of all, once you have your line and your dot, now we can kind of start creating some of the things that are in our map. So I'm going to take that straight edge. So remember, I'm using a ruler. You can use a book, notebook, something like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line from that dot all the way to the bottom of my paper. Okay, so your line should look like this. All right, so I drew one line out of that dot, kind of going over to the left over here. I'm going to do the exact same thing going over to the right. Okay, I don't want it to be too fat, right? I don't want it to be this. I don't want it to be too wide inside of here. So I'm going to do about right there. Oops, really moved a little bit. And there you go. Okay, so that's kind of what I have right now. Okay, I do see that I got kind of a double line. So I'm going to erase. So the one line here. All right. That's what I have so far. Now what we have here right in the middle, this is going to be our main road. All right. So right in the middle, this will be our main road. Now usually with roads, what we need is a sidewalk, right? Most roads have a sidewalk. Actually, I'm going to redo this line. This is kind of making me crazy. So what we're going to do next is we are going to create a sidewalk on our main road, and then we'll go from there. All right, so here's what you're going to do your sidewalk. All right, right next to the lines that you drew, you're going to make a little tiny one next to that one. Okay, just like that. You see how there's one right next to the other. Okay. The exact same thing on the other side. Next to the line we already drew, we're going to do one that's pretty close to it. Okay. Just like that. So your paper should look just like this. All right. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect these two lines here. Okay. So I'm actually going to go straight up and down. So it looks like this. Okay. And then straight up and down. So it looks like that. And then whatever's left over here, I can just kind of erase. Okay. So those two little lines that I drew should now connect. All right, now, last thing we'll do today is we're going to create another line that's a little bit wider next to those other two lines that we drew. This ruler's not very good. Edges. Okay, like that. Then one more time over here. So this one, you notice it's going to be a little bit wider than those other two that we drew. Okay. And then just like we did with that other one, we are going to connect the lines. Okay. Right now it doesn't look perfect, but what we have is, actually we're going to do one last thing here. I'm going to draw a line down here at the bottom that kind of connects my other lines. Okay, this is what we're going to call like kind of the bottom of our picture here. Okay. The bottom of our map is going to be this line right here. All right. Now you see that I have something that kind of goes outside of the bottom, so I'm going to erase that. We don't need that. Since this is the bottom of our picture, you can erase anything extra. So yours should look like this. All right, like I said right here, this is the main road that you're going to be using for your picture. Okay, you can tell that mine isn't perfect either, and that's okay. This is a social studies activity. We're going to do a little bit of art, but we're just going to make it as best as we can. All right. Now, the last thing that we are going to do before we log off for today is we are going to draw the kind of the middle of our road. All right. So you know that roads usually have kind of like these little checks down the middle. All right. So that's what we're going to do today. So you notice that up here at the very top where the dot is where we drew, that is far away. That's down your street. Okay. And then we're getting closer and closer and closer to where we're standing. All right. So what we're going to do when we draw these little check marks here that are going to go down your road, they're going to be a little bit bigger as we're closer, right? Because when you're closer to something, it's going to be a little bit bigger, and they're going to get smaller as we get closer to being farther away. All right, so here is the main, here's kind of the check down the middle of the road. I'm going to make another one here, another one, another one. As you see, I'm getting a little bit smaller. As I went down, right? Because we are closest to this side of the road, and so the check marks are a little bit bigger. And then as it gets farther away, the check marks are a little bit smaller. Okay? So that is the beginning of our 3D neighborhood map that we are going to finish tomorrow. Okay? So what we have so far is the road, right? We kind of have, and I said this was the sidewalk. It's not really the sidewalk. This is kind of like the curb, right? The side of the road, where when you're driving, you might bump into it sometimes if you're with somebody who's not very good at drawing. If you want to, and you want to go back and kind of make these lines a little bit stronger, make them a little bit darker so they stand out a little bit more, you definitely can. Okay. But otherwise, that is what we're going to be doing today. So once your map looks like this, you're good for today. What we're going to do tomorrow is we are going to add three things, really. We're going to add some buildings, right, that are important in your neighborhood. We're going to add the totals, right? The 6 things that are important for a map. And the last thing we're going to do is add some color, right? Once we add some color, we'll be all done with this map. And that will be our final project for this map making unit. Okay? So, if you have any questions, Miss V will be in the Google Meet. Let her know. Otherwise, you can ask me during our Google Meet together. All right? Good luck.